Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 34 of Boutique Talk. My name is Jake Boston, otherwise known as Steelbook Obsessed on all your major social media platforms. And if you want to listen to all things physical media related, then you've come to the right place. Every week, I have on a new guest to talk about their physical media journey. And tonight, my guest just started creating YouTube videos earlier this year, but you wouldn't know that from the quality of said videos because they are phenomenal. Let's give a big hello to Brian from Last Movie Standing. Brian, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going, Jake? Thanks for having me on.
It's going very, very good. In this podcast, I like to have people on in the industry, YouTubers, whether they've been here forever or whether they are relatively new. And I really enjoy the content that you put out. I think it's pretty dang high quality, and the stuff you have to talk about, I'm always fascinated in.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, I just started in January.
Yeah, I think you already have like 30 videos or something out right now. Yeah, you're pumping them out.
I try not to do one every day, and I don't have like a schedule yet. I'm just like, it's kind of just like as I go. I haven't figured out if I'm gonna do like one a week, two a week, three a day. I don't know yet. I'm still figuring it out.
Well, keep on doing you. And sometimes I think a schedule can kind of like put a hamper on people's content because they feel like they need to put something out. It's kind of nice. Like, hey, I have an idea for a video. I'm just going to go make it, put it out. I kind of like that trajectory.
Yeah. And I've been putting out things faster just because I feel like sometimes like I have a vision for a video, and then if I wait too long, I'm scared somebody else is going to do it. And I like to respect other creators and not like backdoor, like right after if something's too similar.
I didn't have any time to do the Terrifier VHS to 4K like transfer thing, just like compare and contrast. I was going to do that, and you beat me to it. But you made your video better than what I could have made mine. You actually had like both playing at once. Don't know how you did that magic, but it looks great.
Yeah, no, that was something new for me. I was going to put it out last week, and I kept putting it off. And I was like, I knew somebody was going to eventually do something like that. And then, that took 2 days because I had to like pre-edit all that stuff. I had to get the transfers. And then I tried something new where I was, instead of just talking and then putting it on the screen, I wanted to make it more of like a live thing.
It worked out well. I really like the way it turned out, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I want to do more like that, where I'm kind of like walking through like things instead of just putting images on the screen.
Sure. No, I get that. Well, right now you're doing YouTube stuff. Before that, you just started as a movie lover. Why did you decide to start loving movies and collecting movies the way you do now?
It's kind of one of these things where it's just always been in my life. I was born in 87, and so I have two older sisters, and my mom is a huge movie lover. So we always had VHSs in the house. I always grew up in a movie theater, so it was just always a natural thing, I think. And like I grew up a Blockbuster kid, so we were just always renting stuff, and I didn't really become like serious about it probably until like 2 years ago. It was just collecting movies I liked. It wasn't like a hobby like it is now. It was just kind of like a thing that was just part of my lifestyle. It always was.
Right.
And like I didn't really consider Blu-rays as seriously as I did up until about 2 years ago. I was still fine with DVDs up until 2 years ago.
What made the switch then from DVD to Blu-ray in your mind?
There was a movie I bought. I forgot which one it was off the top of my head, but it was like the quality was so good that it was like night and day. And then really what it was, which is crazy because I do video production, the realization that Blu-rays were 1080p and DVDs were like 480p, like a lower quality. And just thinking about the number specs of it made me like, okay, that's what it is. And then now it's realizing all the movies I have for so long, because I really started getting into collecting when I was in high school, when I got my first job and I could afford to like just buy stuff. I think the first DVD I ever bought was Honey from 2003.
Wow. Yeah. What made you go out and buy Honey? I can honestly say I've never seen that movie before.
I was really into like dance and Jessica Alba. I mean, come on. I think yeah.
You got to show it off. You got to keep your first, right?
Yeah. I will never give this up. Even if I never watch this movie again, this is the earliest one I remember buying. is this movie, and it's still full screen. Like I was big for like the full screen ones because we didn't have an HD TV for a while.
Yeah.
So
I totally remember that switch over. Yeah. Like I remember when widescreen even came out as a possibility. I'm like, why the hell would you want to watch it like this? I have a square TV. Why wouldn't I want it to make it like my TV all the way full?
And like I was one of those people who the black bars were like, I don't like the black bars. Like but I didn't know that the image was cut off, you know? So it was, I'm just now weeding out like most of my full screen. Like I just got A Day After Tomorrow on Blu-ray like a few weeks ago, and my only other copy was a full screen DVD.
I have like I go to Goodwill's all the time, just a whole bunch of thrifting and garage sailing and whatnot. I won't pick up DVDs anymore. Like I'm to that point to where I'm like, if it's not a Blu-ray or 4K, I'm not going to add it to the collection just because I have so many and space is limited. But I'm feeling myself nostalgic for like DVD menus because I feel like menus on 4Ks and Blu-rays is just like more often than not just like a screen, just like a shot and image from said film. And I miss the days where people put time and effort into the actual DVD menu because that was some cool times.
Yeah, no, DVD menus were absolutely amazing, and DVD artwork. Like, and it's not just that. I have a video coming out this week about the new. Have you seen it? I've been asking most of the YouTube community I know. Have you seen Doomsday?
I know what movie you're talking about, but I haven't seen it. It came out like 2008, 2009.
Yeah, the one that just got announced from Scream that's coming out on 4K.
September,
Well, the DVD, so it has a Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray has like no special features.
Sure.
And the Blu-ray only comes with like the unrated version, but the DVD has like an hour worth of behind the scenes footage, plus you get both versions. So I keep both versions just, you know, for that, because I still feel DVDs have a lot more value than people realize of just the movie, because they're just looking, ooh, it's a DVD, it's like shitty quality. But if you look past that and look at like the menus, is like a lost art, like you were saying, and there's so much more special features that don't always get brought back over.
And I don't even know how many hours I wasted, or I tried to treasure hunt by finding Easter eggs in DVD menus, like going over random things, just pressing every button combination I could just to see some random thing flash, click on it, like, oh, hey, here's an extra gag reel or just an extra hidden tidbit that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. I loved doing that stuff as a kid.
Do you remember the DVD menus? I can't think of which one off the top of my head, but when they would like talk back to you, it's like if you would just left it on the screen, the person would be like, hey, are you going to watch the movie or not? Kind of a thing. Like they were so clever with those.
I think the last one I remember doing, and this was in the Blu-ray era, was Superbad, because that they left Michael Cera, like, you know how the beginning intro is just like the silhouette dancing?
Yeah.
They let Michael Cera just dance for, I think it was like
forever.
Yeah. So it was never looped over unless you watched the whole 80 minutes, because that's all they could hold. That was the max amount of footage they could hold on a menu screen. So he danced for like 80 minutes and then it kind of cycled over, but he was always just like doing stuff. And he thought it was weird that he was doing it for a DVD menu, but he did it anyway. And I think that's the last time DVD menu wise that like something exclusively happened for that. But yeah, I love that little tidbit, and I'm glad I was able to share that.
No, with DVDs, I only buy DVDs right now still if it's only available on that format. But doing all the research for that, I discovered importing movies, because I was like, well, they're not coming to DVD here, but I, you know, did research in Blu-ray.com. I could just go to other countries and be like, oh, it does have a Blu-ray in another country, and I can just import it. You know, because I think the last DVD I bought, I actually have it. The last DVD I bought is 8 Days a Week with Kerry Russell.
Never even heard of that movie.
It's like young. It's not a raunchy comedy. It kind of is. It's basically about a boy who falls in love with the girl next door, and she's leaving for college. So he's gonna sit out in front of her lawn all summer until she gives him the time of day, kind of a thing.
Sure.
But it's not available like anywhere. And I think that one was like, it's like a $40 DVD now. It's like that's when you realize DVDs are hard to find, when they reach the $30-$40 mark.
So I'm assuming since you bought that one overseas, you have a region free player.
Well, this one's American.
Oh, okay. Where'd you get that one from?
I got this from a movie trading company down here. Found it for $10, and it's like $40 on eBay.
There you go. It's always nice when you can make a score like that. I did the import Blu-rays back when I started collecting a whole bunch of Region B ones. So I have a Region Free player, but I don't recommend that to most just because it is a huge money investment. And I don't think you get the return from that money investment, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I had to get one because I've been doing it a lot recently. Like I've been importing so much from Germany, and it's always hit or miss if it's region free. You know, because I just put it in my normal PlayStation, and then if it doesn't work, I'll put it in the region free one. Sure. But I think the last two I got Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones on Blu-ray, because that's not on Blu-ray here yet, and The Cave from 2005.
Yeah,
and those are just region B.
I get some Second Sight Blu-rays for review, and the Blu-rays that they put out are region B, and it's nice to have a player do that. But I want to say, like, especially if you're just going to collect 4K, you don't really have to worry about that anymore, which is nice. Yeah, very, very nice. There's a select few movies that are region locked, which is so dumb. Like
isn't
Flower Moon.
Oh, is that region locked?
Because it never came out in the States, and the 4K that got released in Italy or something, Germany, somewhere around there, it's region locked. It's the only one that I've heard of, and that drives me bonkers.
I didn't know that about that one.
Yeah.
Aren't Umbrella Blu-rays like sometimes region free, or most of the time their Blu-rays are region free?
I just got in. They say they're region B. I have never played one that hasn't played in my region A player. The one exception that I can say is the new Masters of the Universe that they just put out. They've specifically said that only a region B. Yeah,
I think I remember hearing that one, and everybody's like freaking out, like, why is that one of all the ones?
Right. I'm assuming it's got to be a rights issue or something. Otherwise, they'd get in too much trouble with it played. I have no idea. I'm just kind of throwing assumptions out there, I guess.
I was gonna get that because I love the packaging, but I'm like, that one's got to have a 4K coming eventually. So I'm just gonna wait for that.
You would think.
Hopefully,
Right, I know. So you stated why you started collecting movies. When did you first figure out what a boutique label was?
Honestly, YouTube.
That's been the answer for a lot of people. Yeah.
Honestly, YouTube. I don't remember which one it was because I knew about Criterion, but I didn't really know. I didn't think of them as boutique. They were just the expensive. They were in the shelves, you know. I didn't even realize. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I didn't even realize how many DVD Criterions I have. I think I have like Armageddon and Chasing Amy on the Criterion ones, but I think Kino was like a big one. Kino and Arrow were like my first like knowing what they were.
Okay.
I didn't discover like Vinegar Syndrome. I'm very new to Vinegar Syndrome. I only had one Vinegar Syndrome. I had Beastmaster, which I got this year, like early in the year, and I got like 4 more in this past sale, and so I think I have like 5 or 6 Vinegar Syndrome ones, and that's it. But I don't need every Vinegar Syndrome one. Like that.
No one needs every Vinegar Syndrome.
No. I'm like, and even Criterion. Like I don't need every Criterion. Like with this Criterion sale, I was just gonna get 5 movies and be like, I got all the ones I want. I don't need everything. Because I also do by alphabetical order. I don't do mine yet by like specific things.
Sure. And you said you've been collecting for a couple of years. Is your collection what we see behind you, or does it kind of expand a little bit bigger than that?
It's 3 shelves. It's
3 shelves. Got it.
Yeah, it's like 3 bookshelves. It's I just hit 1,700 movies.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Collecting pretty quick over there. It's adding up quick. Yeah.
Well, it's 20 years of collecting, over 20 years of collecting, but and most of it's still, more than half of it is still DVDs.
Right.
But that's like just movies. That's not including like, because I collect VHSs too, but I don't count that like in the numbers.
Correct. Yeah. My numbers are Blu-rays, 4Ks, and then like my DVDs are a separate number. My VHS are a separate number. If I put all of them together, it would be a stupid number.
Yeah.
I don't even want to like put it out there to the world because Blu-rays and 4Ks are really like my main priority right now. And I used to do everything alphabetical. I worked at Hollywood Video for a year. That's just how my brain works. and now it's gotten too big to where like I have to separate the boutique labels from everything else just so like it matches up correctly. And having a boutique wall is kind of nice too. The more I collect,
Yeah,
the
no,
more
I saw your shelf.
Yeah,
I saw your shelf build video, and because I'm moving into a new place in October, so I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of these bookshelves. I'm gonna build my own, and I'm debating. I'm gonna try it out to see how it looks with like a section for like the box sets, and then like maybe something else. I'm gonna try a few things,
sure.
but I like the alphabetical order. It's just easier.
Yeah, it's easy for me to find anything I want to. That's the main reason why I do it that way.
But I also like randomness. Like I have a floating shelf. Let me see if you can like see it. I have this floating shelf like back here, and it's just random knickknacks.
Oh, the one right above your TV.
Yeah, right above the TV. It's just random knickknacks of like VHS's, clamshell cases, Funko Pops. And I'm like, I would love to do like a bunch of little things that are just random like that because I just think it looks cool.
Cool. Well, you said one of the boutique labels that you first started collecting heavily for was Kino Lorber. It took 34 episodes, but we're finly talking about Kino Lorber on the boutique label podcast. So what made Kino Lorber kind of like shout out to you? Why did, I guess, what releases did they put out? What kind of, I don't know. I feel like people talk about like the oeuvres or the vibes that boutique labels throw out. Was there one that Kino Lorber did for you?
It was their 80s movies. It was Secret Admirer. This was the one.
Random. Okay.
Yeah, this was a blind buy. Huge Kelly Preston fan, and this is literally probably my top 5 80s movies, and I just discovered it like this year. Like the opening piano. Oh my god, the score in this like sold me right away. I was like,
isn't that the best? Like that's one of the reasons why I love physical media collecting is that like you can do a blind buy, you pull it off the shelf, and you never know if it's going to be a dud or become one of your favorites. It's I love that feeling.
I'm to that point where in my collecting, I don't blind buy very much. Like my blind buying days were mostly like my Blockbuster days and everything. Like it's like you said, space is a big issue for me too. So I don't have the luxury to just blind buy, and if I don't like it, it's gonna stay here. I'm never gonna watch it again.
Right.
But this was a blind buy, and it's made me so happy, and that got me hooked on Kino. And just seeing their catalog of movies is more of my style of movies. Like their last sale, I got like Secrets of My Success with Michael J. Fox, which is another one of my absolute favorites. They did Porky's 2 and 3 double pack, which I got. I have a few, but they're probably I think I have the most Kinos out of all the boutiques so far.
Sure. And I did not collect for them heavily until earlier this year. It was not the sale they're having now, but the one prior to that. They had a lot of titles on sale. And I was like, okay, if I'm ever going to dip my toe in the water, I want some 4K to get it in there. And I like them, and I started a partnership with them, and it's just been great to kind of promote their releases because they release a little bit of everything. That's what I like about Kino so much.
Yeah, they're very like they release mainstream movies, but still like hidden gem mainstream movies. Like they did Tristan and Isolde on Blu-ray, which baffled me. I was like, that seems like a very Hollywood, not really something boutique, but they did that one,
right?
And the one I think my first 4K was The Apartment.
Oh sure, yeah.
That was my first Kino 4K, and that just looked absolutely amazing.
I did a podcast with Tim Talks Talkies on here about 12 Angry Men. And when he told me that there was a bonus movie from like the 90s version of 12 Angry Men on that release, I'm like, okay, I need to dig a little bit deeper into Kino Lorber. Because I talked about the Criterion edition. That's one I had. That came with the first edition, the first version of 12 Angry Men, the TV version in the 40s or 50s, and then the main movie from 50s. And then I had no idea that there was a 90s one. He told me
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Like whenever you can add an extra movie as a bonus feature on the movie that you buy, it's no better feeling in the world for me. Yeah.
I love that. I have that with You've Got Mail. You've Got Mail is one of my favorite rom-coms ever. And the Blu-ray comes with the original 1940s. I think it's 1940s Shop Around the Corner black and white film.
Yeah.
It comes with the Blu-ray.
Very cool. Yeah.
And then that's how I discovered the original House of Wax, because when I got the DVD of House of Wax, it came in like a double pack with the Vincent Price
Very nice
movie too. And I think that one has like an extra one too on it, you know, but it's like they don't really advertise it that much.
Right. And you think that they would, because if you're going to throw anything, especially a big extra in like that, I would put that towards your marketing, because that's a huge selling factor.
I know some selling factors. I forgot who did it recently, but you know when they put like the TV versions or the broadcast versions of movies on there? I forget which boutique did that recently for something, but I think that's really cool too when they do that.
Yeah, I know, like the Halloween, 1 and 2 came with like the TV cut or something like that on there.
I think that maybe that's. I was like, I think it's a horror like Halloween or something. But I remember Planet CHH was talking about that one time. But yeah,
we'll talk a little bit more about Crybaby, but there's 2 different cuts of the film on this one too, which is
there is
nice.
Yeah, and one new to Blu-ray for the first time.
Correct. Yeah. Before we get to that, I want to talk about some physical media sales that are going on. We talked about Kino. We might as well talk about the sale that they're having right now in the month of July. There are a stupid amount of sales going on, and I don't understand why they're all dogpiling on top of one another. It's like they're all fighting to get your $1 instead of just like stretching out sales for 3 months at a time. Just being like, hey, have 2 or 3 sales from this company in July, have 2 or 3 in August. I don't understand the mob mentality effect.
Is that new? Because I said in my video that I didn't, because I'm still new to boutique. So this summer just felt like a little overwhelming. And there's been a few people in the comments who are like, it's always like this. But like, is it really all at once?
I feel like it's never been this bad. Like there's never been this many sales going on at once. Like always in July and November, Criterion has the half off. Like that's been set in stone forever. And then ever since then, like November makes sense for everybody to fight. Everybody fights for your Christmas money at that point. But in the summertime, like stretch it out for the whole summer. Like we can go a little bit into some of the sales going on right now. I'll pull some of them up as we talk about them. The first one, Kino Lorber. We have the spring into summer sale. Shop over 700 titles as low as $4.99. That's a lot. A lot of titles to choose from. Like I said, I fell in love with Kino because of their 4Ks. They have a good amount of 4Ks. It's about like 30-ish or so, more than that, 35, somewhere around there.
They're releasing one of my most anticipated ones coming up. It's not for sale yet, but The General's Daughter. They're doing that with John Travolta.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite 90s action movies, and I'm really stoked to see that on coming to 4K, and they're doing it.
The sad thing is, like, there's so many, like the apartment right here, like you were talking about. There's so many great classic movies that Kino puts out, but the ones that I'm probably going to pick up are Tropic Thunder and Mystery Men, like the 90s and 2000s comedies that I love a lot.
I would even like I want In Bruges on 4K.
I have that one. It looks great.
Does it? I really want that one.
Not enough people talk about In Bruges. It's one of Michael McDonough's best movies. I love that thing. Yeah. I'm glad
I would even really like Dress to Kill, even though like I'm a huge Brian De Palma fan, but Brian De Palma, the director, where he's so visual, I'm not the biggest fan of like his story, like the movies, but I can just watch him in the background and just revel in like the beauty of his cinematography and the way he designs shots. So Dress to Kill is on my list, like for sure.
I own this one. I have not seen it, but from what I've seen in reviews, the transfer is pretty killer on that one too. And just the story on this one, it seems very interesting to check out. But one thing that I look for in these sales, you can kind of see a couple popping out here. The ones that show the slipcover are the ones that I like to be like, okay, I should probably get this before the slipcover runs out. Because one thing about Kino that I like on their slips is that it's not just the black and white spine, like the black spine with white lettering. People like the uniformity of that. It kind of drives me nuts. I like the pops that the slipcovers bring to these releases.
I almost said that in my Crybaby. I think maybe I don't even remember if I edited it in, but the spine for Crybaby was like, oh, they didn't do the letters, and I looked, I'm like, oh wait, no, it's on the inside, of it.
And I feel like I checked out this sale the first day, and these two weren't included.
Which
I
one?
don't remember High Noon. I don't remember Zoltan. Yeah,
I've never heard of Zoltan.
No, but yeah, a lot of interesting titles here for sure. But normally, if this was the only sale going on, I would pick up like 5 or 6 titles from here alone. But with so
Yeah.
many going on, I think I might only pick up like Mystery Men, the ones that have slipcovers, like I said.
Yeah.
Mystery Men, and possibly, what was the other one? Where'd that go? I want to say it was Fear and Desire, just a Kubrick that I haven't seen that I don't have in the collection.
I think that one's a short one too. I think that's only like an hour long or something.
Right. I've watched like half of his filmography, and I enjoy everything that I watch. And Fear and Desire is just one that, okay, I know that I'm going to finish this dude's body of work. I just need to have it in the collection so one day I can finally do it.
There's 2 Kubrick ones I really want on 4K. Really want. Which is Barry Lyndon. I think Barry Lyndon would be the most amazing looking 4K ever.
Mm-hmm.
And Eyes Wide Shut.
That would look great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have 2001, and I'll be honest, I don't. Maybe it's my TV because I don't have an OLED and I don't have like a proper 4K. I have a region-free player and I have my PlayStation 5. But for some reason, there's something with that movie where it looks amazing in 99% of it, but all the outside shots of the ship, it looks overexposed. Like it's not meant to do that, because I look at the DVD and I'm like, you can see all the detail, but on the 4K, it's blown out.
Interesting.
On like the outside of the ship, and I was like, I don't know if that's just my TV or I don't have the right player for it yet, because I know 4K you really need the right setup to really get the full experience.
When you said that the region-free player is kind of worth the money, I think the OLED, it's a lot of money. The longer you wait, the cheaper it's going to get, which is always a good thing with technology. I mean, you can get a 1080p TV right now, like 70 inches for $300. Like the price is just like down in the gutter right now, which is great, I guess. But OLED is, I've had this OLED for a year and a half, 2 years. And the first time I popped a 4K disc in, watching it on my OLED, I just dropped at the quality I was seeing. I'm like, I could be watching movies at home like this. And it's not every transfer, but the first one I watched was Willy Wonka. And that one specifically.
Which Willy Wonka?
The 70s Willy Wonka.
Oh, okay.
The colors absolutely popped on that sucker like I've never seen it before. And that movie is just like full of like imaginative imagery, you know, just stuff that
lots of colors. Yeah.
I fell in love with that movie as a kid, and that transfer made me fall in love with that movie all over again with my kids. It was just a magical experience. And I love it when a 4K can sing like that, when it has the right transfer and it just kind of breathes new life into a movie that you love. It's great. So highly recommend an OLED whenever you can get one. I know they're expensive.
Yeah, no, it's coming. I'm kind of waiting till I get my new place to like redo my whole like everything, new TV, new shelves, new everything.
You don't want to buy it and then move it months later. I get that.
Exactly.
Totally get that. Well, I'm going to go to the next sale here, and this is one that doesn't get enough love in the States. It's Umbrella Entertainment, and right now they are having the craziest sale I've seen them have. They are doing a BOGO.
I was doing so close to getting some things from this, man.
Well, if it helps you out at all, I do have a discount code for Umbrella. If you put in STEEL15, you save 15% on top of this BOGO. Just say,
how long's the BOGO going for?
I don't know when this ends. Does it say on here? I have no idea. 2 weeks. No, sale items may take 2 weeks for. I have no idea how long it goes for. I don't remember that ever being said. So who knows?
I really want that Super Mario one. I don't need the big, huge thing. It'd be nice, but
you say that. I have.
I say that. No, I've been
my favorite physical media release I have that came out this year. It's so good.
Everybody said that, and I really,
But even just the discs on this sucker are worth $35. They're coming out with another edition. This is just the slipcover one. They are coming out with like a not the purple box, but they're coming out with like a slightly smaller blue box.
Yeah. Oh, is it smaller? Yeah, I think it's still available. It's like $100 with the disc, where you can get it for like 80 or something without the disc.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I've been debating. Trust me, I've been debating.
Sure. And this is not meant to pressure you into buying anything, Brian. Okay. I just want to get that out there. I just kind of want to showcase some of this stuff and see like, hey, I mean, for me, Umbrella, I have a lot of these already. But if you don't have an Umbrella box set in your collection, this is a good way to get a couple of them at a reasonably good price. I recommend the Hitcher. I think that transfer is great. They have amazing special features on this sucker. Let's see.
Where was it? Stigmata. I don't know
Stigmata, yeah.
Stigmata is one I really want.
And the thing about Umbrella is that the number of like premium releases that they have for like the case, they sell out so quick because they don't make enough of them. I want to say like 1,000 is a high mark for them.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are very super limited. Some of them are like as little as 300.
Is that because like I don't know if you know this, is that because of like a licensing thing? Like do they get it cheaper if like, oh, we're only gonna do like 1,000, or they're allowed to, or something?
I don't think so. I think it's just because like Super Mario, they made 2,500 of those, and they thought that was enough. But that sucker sold out so quick. At least they're doing a re-release of that, and I don't think the blue one is numbered, if I'm correct, or if it is numbered, it's a very high number so that they won't run out anytime soon.
Run out, yeah.
I really liked this edition of Monkey Shines. Again, this one doesn't have the box, but it does have the slip. Very, very.
I like the cover. I haven't seen that one. I haven't heard of that one, but I like the cover art of it.
It's a George A. Romero directed movie. One of the ones that he did like 91, 92. Very interesting movie there. I can keep on scrolling over this. This isn't really the point. It's just like it's another sale.
It's another big, yeah.
I feel like if Umbrella, I think one thing that you have to kind of put into consideration is that a lot of these boutique labels don't talk with one another. So they might have an idea like, hey, let's have a July sale, and not realizing that everybody else is going to have a July sale.
Yep.
I feel like Umbrella would have been smart to save it towards August, maybe even like dip their toe into September a little bit. Because even like everybody spends their money in July, kind of saves it up in August because there's no sales going on in August. It's a freaking desert in August. Because the Kino one goes all month. The Criterion one goes all month. It's just the amount of sales is absolutely baffling to me.
See, I forgot that it started so early. For some reason, I was thinking Criterion sales started at the end of July. For some reason, I don't know why.
They usually go all month, from beginning to end. And but that's one good thing about Criterion. They print so many of their copies to where like you don't need to feel pressured to get them right away. They should be there even for the next sale that's like 5-6 months down the road.
And after I made my video, like the one thing that really made me like more at ease was because I create Amazon wish list for like all my boutique label ones that I want. And I don't buy them all off Amazon, but I keep them in Amazon just so like mentally I can like easily go back to them. But I went to my Criterion one, and I'm like, the one thing about Amazon wishlist is they'll tell you how much it was when you added it back in January and how much it is now in the sale. And it's like, I'm not really missing out on anything. It's 6% off. It's not 50% off. It's 6% off, or it's 10% off. You know, it's
with you saying that, I want to go to the next culprit that kind of does the same thing, but gamifies it. And that is, where is it here? Vinegar Syndrome, man. Do
they do that too?
Well, this week is their subscriber week. And here they have something different on sale every day of the week. And this time around, they said if you spend $20 every day, at least $20 or more, you get 700 bonus points. Isn't that great? But you kind of think in your head on how many points are worth how many, like in dollars. It's only $7 that you're getting back.
Really?
So Vinegar Syndrome is amazing at gamifying collecting physical media. They give you so many incentives to collect some of like the most garbage titles you can think of. Like today is a great example. Like if you are a big fan of Vinegar Syndrome, $13 Blu-rays with slipcovers. That's a great price for some of these movies. Some of them.
Just for their slipcover art alone.
The slipcover art is amazing, but they do amazing artwork for terrible, terrible movies.
Yeah, no, I was talking to a friend today who bought that Steel and Lace one. And I watched the trailer for it, and I'm like, have fun, buddy.
I have to watch the trailers on every single one of these before I hit buy. Like I'm going to buy Buried Alive today because I think it's a TV movie, but it looks pretty decent. And that might be the only one. I just bought the Black Crystal used at my local video store. Otherwise, I would get that one. I've heard good things about this one. Other than that, it's just Agfa, like one of the partner titles that Vinegar Syndrome puts out. They're very hit or miss with me. Same with all the like the shot on video stuff. It's like the majority of that I'm not going to be interested in. Same with like the Billy Blanks genre of like kung fu movies. Like that is good for some people. I don't think I will ever be interested in that, you know?
All right. So are all these today going to be gone tomorrow and it'll be like a whole new?
At noon tomorrow Eastern time, the theme will be switched to $10 Blu-rays with no slips. So it gives you even more like pressure to buy because now it's not even a sale that lasts a week. It's one that lasts a day. It gets kind of crazy. Vinegar Syndrome gets kind of crazy for sure.
Do you have MVD on your list?
I do. And that's actually a decent sale because they have a lot of very, very cheap titles. There's one in particular that I wanted to showcase off. Thanks for reminding me about that.
Because I think I saw on your Instagram story that like a couple of days ago that they were doing it. And it was just like some I don't need and some I probably won't even like. But I'm like, some of them are low as $3.99, $4.99.
They go as low as $1. But the one like out of all of these, I was a big fan of this documentary, Smoke and Mirrors, about Tom Savini.
I've heard of that one.
I thought it was very solid, and it's only $3 with a slipcover in this sale. I'm trying to.
Oh wow! Yeah, you need to snatch that one.
Correct. There was another random one. I'm trying to. Do I have to click to shop? Sorry, I just popped on here. I wasn't. Here we go. Sort by lowest to highest, and we get some 99-cent DVDs. That's how they kind of get you in with that 99-cent one. It's all DVDs. There's some wrestling ones though. I know a lot of people are. There's a big category that love their wrestling content. Cheap Kevin Hart. There was like a $1.99 movie.
Is that a hold on? Go
okay, go back.
There was one at the bottom. It said Blast, but it looked like the Die Hard poster.
Oh God!
See the artwork.
Terror has no limit.
Oh my God. That looks just like the Die Hard poster.
But it has Rutger Hauer. If Rutger Hauer's the bad guy, I might be interested in that. Oh my God! If he's the Alan Rickman of Blast,
oh God!
Sign me up. Actually. The thing with
that Star Wars is that Star Wars one a Blu-ray or DVD?
This is a DVD, but the Blu-ray is only like $1 more. It's only like $2.99, I believe. But
is that a movie or a document? I think
this is a movie. Right? The star of this movie is like the main kid from Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like there was another movie that came out that was kind of like this called Fanboys. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I remember I didn't like Fanboys, but I saw the trailer for that one, and I was like, that actually looks kind of interesting. I like the premise.
It has more heart to it than Fanboys does. Fanboys tries to, but it has a lot of stupid points in it too. I would say that other one, the date one, is a lot better. I also like looking at this. Trying to figure out how to go. Here we go. Format Blu-ray. All these DVDs, I'm getting over it. I don't collect DVDs anymore.
You don't collect.
I'm not trying to frown upon it. I just don't have space for it, you know?
No, you said I was watching your last one with films by color, and y'all said something. Y'all the DVD dungeon or dumpster. Y'all said something.
DVD like dungeon. Yep, I got that. I probably have like 400 to 500 DVDs just kind of piled up over there in the DVD dungeon. Drunk Bus was the movie I was talking about. That I'm a sucker for a coming of age. Yeah, I didn't either, but I watched the trailer. It looked pretty decent. And then like even their most expensive ones aren't that bad. Like we're talking $5 here. I can't show some of those. Some of the stuff they have on here is a little bit like sexual, I guess to say the least. But Game 6 is a great movie for sure. Modern Vampires.
Is that Michael Keaton?
It is, yeah. Directed by Michael Keaton too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it takes place during Game 6 of the World Series.
Oh, baseball. Shredder is one I considered.
See, even though that artwork looks awesome, but I'm assuming it's like a slasher in the snow.
I'm a huge fan of like just ski, snowboard, Ski Patrol, those kind of movies. Ski School is one of my favorite 80s comedies. I think it's from 91 actually. But I was like, I'll watch it just for that. But the regular, it's like $20. Like after I looked at this deal, I looked up kind of thrift store markets that have it on the website where you can go find, and it's like still $20 everywhere. And I'm like, it's only $10 there, but it does look like a crappy movie. So maybe $10 is a little much for that movie.
You never know, especially with some of these sales. Like sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm going to save so much. I feel an impulse buy to buy it, but you got to do your research.
And then you keep doing that for every sale, and it's like, oh, it's $10 here, and then it just adds up. Yeah,
it piles up. And there's an Arrow Video sale.
I get emails from them. I get emails from Arrow every day. Like they're like, new flash sale. I think their True Romance was their new one for today, and then I got one yesterday for like The Last House on the Left.
I'm trying to go over all the images that I have. The Criterion one, Camp Arrow Video. This is the 5th year they're doing it.
Yep.
Severin is going to have one next week, like the 11th through 13th, 12th through 15th. Excuse me. There's just
I don't have
so
any Severin.
I didn't until recently, and their releases are nice, and the majority of the time they have a lot of extras in them. Like if you're getting one of their beefy sets, they're really good. Like the best box set I've gotten this year is from Severin. It's that Game of Clones Bruce PlayStation Kung Fu box set.
I've seen the box set. Yeah,
it very super high quality, and the inside of it is like a book, and it you pull the discs out of the sleeve like a side loader almost, but it's nice and it doesn't kind of scratch up the discs at all. And Blu-rays you can throw around like frisbees anyway; they don't really scratch up. But
don't 4K scratch a little bit more?
Yes, 4Ks are so delicate, man. 4Ks, I feel like if I breathe on it incorrectly or if I breathe on it the right way, it won't play in the player. I'll have to take it out and like scrub it down. I don't know. I don't know if it's my player and it's finally showing age, but the player I have downstairs is very finicky with 4K. The one upstairs isn't as bad. So I don't know if it's my player or if it's the discs. It's driving me nuts, though.
I've only had one issue with skipping, but I bought it secondhand. I got Sidekicks finally from the Vinegar Syndrome sale, but I found it secondhand, and I was just gonna like do it for a giveaway or something. But I put it in before I got my new one, and it like within the first 2 minutes, it was like it stopped, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Right.
And I had to like clean it and like get it to work again. But I was like,
"Yep." And I rarely have that problem with Blu-rays. I can count on one hand the amount of times a Blu-ray has stopped on me. You know.
Yeah, if a Blu-ray is damaged, it's like it really got scratched or something.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about Crybaby here pretty soon, but before we do that, I'd like to go into the comments a little bit here. John Doe Juggalo, so glad you brought Brian on here. There you go.
Hey, what's up, John?
Yeah. Grandpa was such a cinephile that we were conditioned to watch widescreen even in the 90s. I never had anybody like that. They were always like me and just be like, it's showing less of the screen. Why is that good?
I feel like what's worse is VHS widescreen because it's already putting it on you're watching it on a small screen and then it makes it even smaller.
Right. Media Play J mentioned in your review of Crybaby, it's one of the Kino's best special feature releases. Anyone know why the film got delayed until 2024? John Waters mentions in his commentary it's 2022. I'm assuming it might have to deal with like some of the people they interviewed and when they could get access to them.
I don't know. They announced it. I think they announced it in 2021. Like Kino put on their Twitter in 2021 that it was coming out, and then it took this long to come out. So it may be the interviews. I don't think it was a restoration issue because that was my original thought. Because I know sometimes they have trouble with the restoration, but I really don't know what the issue was. Maybe it was an interview thing, and they just wanted to get everybody. But they announced it in 2021.
That's crazy. That's a really long wait, for sure. He's here. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 got you into Vinegar Syndrome. That's like the big first box that I bought from them because that sucker was too gorgeous not to have in the collection. I'm really glad I was able to snag that.
What art? I haven't seen that one. What artwork does that one have? Did that have the Breakfast Club one artwork on it? Or
so this box set is nice because it has like a nice hard box set and it slide loads and has a slip cover. The slip cover has the Breakfast Club iconic logo. The box set it looks like an oil painting almost of Leatherface.
Oh, okay.
On the back. I can try to find it here for you, but as soon as I saw that artwork, I was just in awe of it. It looked so nice. Have you seen that movie before?
I've seen it once. I wasn't that big I'm not that big into Texas Chainsaw. I like the new ones, the Michael Bay ones, but I tried to watch the second one just because I'm a huge fan of Bill Moseley.
Okay.
And I was a little disappointed with it personally.
It's been a very long time since I've seen the Michael Bay ones. I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 a second time. That's what it is. This sucker. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah. No,
There's
that's
the
pretty
front
dope.
and the back. Yeah, I think it looks super.
That's actually really dope.
Mm-hmm. And you have you said you had Beastmaster, right? Did you? And it didn't have the hard box; it had just the slipcover.
No, yeah, it was just a slip, and the slip is different. So the slip is just what the outside of the big box is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that artwork, the orange artwork, where it's like the box that you open it up, and it's like the blue slip cover,
Yeah,
on it or something. Like we don't the standard one with the slip case isn't that artwork.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. There's a lot of cool special features in that release. I think it's worth it, especially if you can find the nice box that it came in. Kino has some nice.
I've been looking. They're expensive. I was bidding on one last month, and I got outbid like the last 2 seconds.
Gotcha. I hardly ever go on eBay to buy things. I hate paying top dollar for stuff. If you have never used Whatnot,
I've never used it. Yeah,
highly recommend it, because for physical media for movies, max, you're probably bidding against 20, 25 people in the majority of them or less. So you can get some nice boutique titles for chump change, because either the person selling it doesn't realize what they have, or the person does, but there's not enough people bidding against you.
I'll have to check that out. I know Jeff from Films at Home talks about it all the time.
Yeah, he talks about it because he sells on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I've thought about selling it. I don't know. I don't know if I could do that or not. I'm on there, and I have my username on there, and there's like 30, 40 people that follow me thinking I'm going to sell. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing yet.
I don't know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Cool. They have some really cheap releases too. You may order some. Sorry, but you think Criterion is getting your July money? That's what a lot of people go to. They just do Criterion, and that's about it. I'm going to have a
saving for that sale. Yeah.
I'm going to have a video next week talking more in depth about these sales, but I'm also having some other fellow YouTubers kind of record like a minute of what they're planning to get this month.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of the people are going to come back and say, I'm just going to do Criterion, which the more I'm collecting physical media, the less I see myself collecting Criterion as heavily as what I did, I guess. There are more boutique labels that I like to collect for more than Criterion nowadays. I
think it's Criterion. They're going to be there in 3 years. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like a super limited edition box set or slipcover. Like what you're going to eat. They don't even change their artwork from the Blu-rays and the 4Ks. Like
the main thing that might happen is the main one might sell out. Like for Thelma and Louise, that box that it's in, that might sell out. And it will get re-released in a standard edition, like clamshell case, like they always have. It's still the same exact disc that you're getting. So I think I think it's another reason. Like there's no... I feel like waiting on this stuff, it's always going to be there type of thing. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut would be amazing from 80s Made. You win OLED and it's amazing. 1000% agree. He agrees that the Hitcher is
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the original Hitcher. I'm a huge fan of the remake.
Okay.
The one that Michael Bay did. That was the first one I saw, but I was also like a huge Sophia Bush fan growing up. So and she was in that, and I just love the visual aesthetic of the second one, and I'm hoping Umbrella does that at least on Blu-ray, because I have the import, I think, from Canada. Okay. For that one that I found, because that one went like you can't find the hit.
I feel like that's going to be like a Scream Factory release or something. The remake.
I would love a Scream Factory release. I just don't. Scream Factory, I love it. I don't have many. I only have a few, but and I'm going to talk about it in a video I have coming up about Doomsday. But the Doomsday art, like the Doomsday movie, is absolutely amazing. But that artwork is the worst artwork I've ever seen.
Well, it's very generic, if I remember correctly. Right?
It has nothing to do with that movie. It's you see like a woman holding a stick. She doesn't have that stick the whole movie. Like, what is that? Like it just doesn't show the whole movie. Like I don't know. But the movie itself is amazing. But yeah, I could totally see Scream or Shout doing that movie too.
Absolutely.
Especially now, since we're getting so many, like the Friday the 13th, the Amityville Horror. I feel like all the early 2000s remakes are like now coming to 4K.
I would say give it time. Yeah. I would say within the next 18 months, it's at least going to be announced.
I hope so.
Yeah, I could see it. I watched the original Hitcher when I got that box set in. Love that movie. It's a cat and mouse movie, and it gets more twisted than I thought it would. It's definitely an interesting watch for sure. Everybody in it has great performances too. Rutger Hauer's great. C. Thomas Howell's really good too. It's just
Have you seen what's it called? The Jamie Lee Curtis one, where she's out in the outback.
Road Games.
Yeah. Road Games.
Mm-hmm. I have it. I have not seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet either. I want to see it.
Mm-hmm. It's on my list. I have a watch list of Doom, just like everybody else does. One of these days, I'll get to it, man. Let's see here. Happy Optimist always pops in here. Your 4 favorite films. Do you have those off the top of your head? I know Letterboxd kind of does that.
My 4 favorite films change every week. Off the top of my head, The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
You've got when Harry Met Sally.
Yes.
Shit, this is hard. Casablanca, and I don't know. 4th one's kind of hard.
I thought I didn't like romantic comedies, and then I saw When Harry Met Sally, and I fell in love with that movie so much that it made me open up to more rom-coms.
I ordered like right before, like it's like the last purchase I got. I haven't got it in yet, but I got the German 4K because that has a 4K.
I didn't know
and
that.
I'm excited to review it because it got a German 4K, but it hasn't come here yet. And from what I've heard, it looks absolutely amazing.
I have the Shout Select. It looked okay, but there were good special features on that sucker. So
yeah. I can't think of a 4th movie off the top of my head right now.
Mm-hmm. Follow Toyologist on Whatnot. Okay. If you go onto Whatnot, there's a plethora.
I'm going to download that app as soon as we get
I just don't have enough time to do as many auctions as I'd like to. Otherwise, I know I could get way more deals. But every now and again, I do. And John Doe Juggalo is right. Second Sight has Hitcher in 4K coming very, very soon.
Isn't that been in? Because I know a lot of people have talked about that. That's been like delayed for
maybe kind of like Crybaby. Something just kind of popped up, or they're trying to work through some hurdles that they thought they could easier. But yeah. Media Play J says Road Games is excellent. Stacey Keach turns in a great performance. Yeah, I need to watch.
I'm excited to see Road Games.
What are your thoughts on Spider-Man 3? That's a very random question. No, it's a no.
It was my first. I still own it. It was my very first Blu-ray because it came with the PlayStation 4, or with it to 3. I forgot which one it was.
3. It was the 3. Because the lettering on the PlayStation 3 was mocked after the Spider-Man 3 lettering.
Was it really? I didn't know.
For like the first PlayStation 3 that came out, yeah.
I didn't.
Very bizarre. Yeah.
I'll be honest.
You can never unsee it.
As soon as you said that, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of any of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 was like the oh my god, this is Spider-Man to me moment.
See, I know 1 and 2 are super campy, but I still have a special place in my heart for those movies. I grew up with them. That's how I loved Spider-Man. I love the character because of them.
Yeah.
3 was my first or second midnight screening. Like, I was so pumped for it. Went with like a group of 12 friends to go see it, and it was just a wet fart of a movie, man. I hated the majority of the movie.
I actually rewatched it this year, honestly, because I was thinking, let me give the Tobey Maguire ones a try. And I don't own Spider-Man 1 and 2, but I own Spider-Man 3. And I watched it, and I was like, damn, I forgot how hot Bryce Dallas Howard was with blonde hair.
Yes, as Gwen Stacy. Yeah. I have a Spider-Man 3 hat up there that I found.
I see it. Oh, yeah, I see it.
I'll just have it up there just for like, okay, whatever. But yeah, the movie is not good at all.
Topher, and I love Topher Grace in movies, but him as Eddie Brock just wasn't
bad. Did not work.
Yeah.
Bad, not good. Yeah. Well, man, we're almost an hour in and we haven't got to our review yet. Let's waste no more time and get into Crybaby. I have 30-second TV spot to kind of like get us in the mood of talking Crybaby.
Absolutely.
Let's play this sucker really quick.
It was a nice, quiet town. Then came Crybaby Walker.
You're a dead man, Walker!
He's not just antisocial.
Rock and roll!
He was born to be bad.
How does it feel to be a juvenile delinquent? It feels good, man. I've never been so happy in my whole life.
Johnny Depp, Crybaby, a film by John Waters, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, April 6th at theaters everywhere.
I love finding TV spots because it puts you back into that time where they came out.
I've never heard that like voiceover before. It's like cracking me up. He's like so enthusiastic. He's like really into it, which is cracking me up. Like
Reminds me a lot of like a Grindhouse type voiceover.
yeah.
Almost. That's what came to my mind as soon as I found that clip. I'm like, yep, using that guy. I like his voice a lot.
I was like, I've never seen that, but I was like, I would watch it just for that. Like that guy cracked me up.
Right. Well, when I was thinking about having you on the podcast, you just recently put out a video about Crybaby and the 4K release that Kino Lorber put out. Do you want to give your 2 cents on the movie and the release in general?
Yeah. So Crybaby, the movie I grew up with as a kid. Like I've been watching it since, I was really little. My oldest sister loved Johnny Depp. She always had his stuff on the wall. So that movie was always on. And Allison, the main girl, was like my first movie crush ever. I was in love with Allison growing up, and it was just always on. And I'm still not into musicals. Like musicals aren't a big thing, but Crybaby's like that exception to me for some reason. I absolutely love everything about it. And I was way too young to like know all the innuendos in that movie. Mm-hmm. Especially now watching it older, I'm like, oh wow, this is like really sexual. And
yes,
like
this movie plays a very fine tightrope walk to where like it's almost a parody, but it's still playing within the genre as well. Like one moment you can be sucked into their romance, the next moment they're like sucking each other's tongues. It's just like I like how it. I don't know. I like this movie. This is the first time I've watched it. Never really heard of the movie until this release got announced, the 4K from Kino, and I had a pretty dang good time with it, man. I had a load of fun. I feel like you can't not have fun watching this movie.
Yeah, no, it's like I think the music is absolutely great, and then one of the things people compare it to the most, which is absolutely reasonable, is Grease, because it very much is, even much a satire of Grease. But what I like is how I compare it is Grease is more bubblegum, where this is more like rock and roll.
Sure.
Like Danny Zuko is like, I don't want to say playing that character. You know what I'm saying? Because when we first see him, he's the nice guy, and all this. He's trying to get the girl, and then he's kind of pretending to be this bad boy, where Crybaby is that bad boy the whole movie.
Crybaby is definitely like, there's more Elvis in this movie than
way more. Yeah, way more.
Yeah. There's a lot more rock and roll elements. A lot more like class issues a little bit too, like the super rich versus super poor. Did not realize that was going to be a big play in this movie until it is just punches you left and right with like, hey, we are squares, we are rich, and we are boring. And then the fun other God, I can't remember the other name of the group.
The Drapes.
Drakes, yeah, Drapes, yeah, that's it.
Drapes, yeah.
Actually, what they called that group over in that neck of the woods too. I kind of was listening to some making ofs on here, some commentary a little bit. There's a podcast that just takes a whole bunch of old documentaries and puts them out in audio form. So I was listening to that on the drive back home from work. And John Waters, it's just kind of interesting. Like he grew up with these types of people all around him, and they called themselves Drapes. And I didn't realize that was a thing until I watched this, I guess.
Do you know why they call them Drapes?
I have no idea.
It's because of the clothes they wear. To drape your, it's like slang. Like you like your clothes are your drapes.
Okay.
Kind of your thing. So that's why they were called Drapes. But John Watt, like this movie's a little bit more intelligent than I think people give it credit for. Like a lot of people call it silly and satire, which it is. I mean, it absolutely is. But I mean, it's like you said. So there's class issues that they deal with, but there's also race issues. If you notice that, there's real things that were going on in the 1950s, like the air raid scare during the talent show part, and they all got under the table because of the atomic bomb scare. At the very beginning, they're giving out polio shots. Like that's they're giving out polio shots. Yep, absolutely. And teen pregnancy. I mean, Ricky Lake's in high school.
Already pumped out 2 kids on her third, still in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, teen pregnancy. When Johnny Depp is teaching Allison how to French kiss for the first time, she's worried about getting mono, and she says like mononucleosis or whatever.
Right.
Like it's like real issues at that time. And like I love the 1950s. The 1950s is one of my favorite just eras in history. I love the movies. I love the music. I love the style. I just love everything 1950s.
Sure.
And one of the things I think I gravitate to most is the 1950s was kind of the birth of teen movies. Like teenagers weren't really a thing until the 1950s because it was post-war.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't. I mean, of course they were teenagers, but they weren't teenagers. And so like all these teen movies were coming out, and I like that Crybaby went a little edgy with that, opposed to a lot of other movies where like Happy Days was very bubblegum. 1950s Grease was very bubblegum. This you can call bubblegum, but if you actually think about the deeper things that they go through in the movie, it's a lot more serious and not really meant for kids.
It's definitely 50s through like an 80s lens almost.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And even the opening song is what inspired the movie. That was a real 1950s song that John Waters said inspired the movie.
Right. He wanted to use the original one, but they had to do like a better remake because the sound quality that it was recorded.
Oh, the sound quality is awful.
Yeah.
If you it's like I've tried to find it on YouTube, and I thought it was just me. And then I heard him say that. I was like, okay, it's not just the crappy audio,
right,
on YouTube.
One of the main things that I loved about this movie is just the cast of characters that are in it. I thought in Grease, I could name the main characters and maybe one of the side players, but here I was a lover of everybody that was in the Crybaby gang. I really loved Tracy Lords. I really loved Hatchet Face.
Yeah.
There's not another character in a movie like this, like Hatchet Face is in this movie. She just stands out. She sticks out like a sore thumb, but it's like the best sore thumb you can ever look at. It's like one of those, like, it's so bad it's good. You cannot stop looking at this character. Oh man.
And when she busted through the Creature of the Black Lagoon there in 3D,
right?
that was so great. And then like Tracy Lords is getting like shipped away. I don't know if you saw this in the behind the scenes, but the FBI was on set after her in that movie.
That was part of the. Yeah, they were trying to give her subpoenas because before this, she was an adult actress. And when she was an adult actress, she was like 15, 16
underage,
years old. Yeah. So they were trying to.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was something to do with testifying against a mob or something.
Oh, was it really? I didn't hear that.
It was something like that. I don't think it was just the underage thing. It was like she had to testify or something.
Well, this was like the first big break she had in Hollywood because nobody would touch her because of the
nobody would. Yeah.
John Waters was like the only person to give her a shot. And that's one thing you can kind of tell on screen, but you can really tell when you're watching the special features of this. Everybody is just having a good time, and everybody seems to absolutely love John Waters because he gave so many people a big break in the industry. Yeah,
no, the cast of people he did. I mean, he got Iggy Pop in the movie.
Yep.
And Iggy Pop is just praising him like he was like, just out of rehab and nobody would touch him.
Yeah, it's like he kind of takes all the misfit toys and puts them in his movies. Yeah.
And it works. This was John Waters' first and probably only like Hollywood system movie.
Yeah. Before this, the year prior, 2 years prior, he came out with Hairspray. And that was a way bigger hit than anybody was anticipating. So he kind of had his blank check movie. This is the one he decided to make. And the budget to this was pretty dang big.
Yeah, it didn't make it 40 million or something.
Hairspray was like 3 or 5 million. And this, I want to say, was 10 times that budget. Is the number that I heard.
And then the whole I feel like the only part that may turn people off the movie if they've never seen it is the ending is the goofiest part of the whole movie.
But that's where it's really going for that Grease motive.
It's going for it, but they had to reshoot that, or they had to add that in later. John Waters was saying that wasn't in the original script, that the studio wanted like a different, after testing or something, wanted a different ending.
I wonder if he filmed the original ending.
I don't know. I don't know if the movie was supposed to end when they get out of jail and they kiss, because it almost looks like they could freeze frame it there and just like go, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that last act is where this movie gets the most outlandish. Like, it feels like you're kind of watching a cartoon almost, or very generic 50s movie. They're just playing chicken with people on the hood. It's just like, yeah.
Well, that was a big thing. What I did like about it, and I didn't realize this till like just recently. So they're playing a song called High School Hellcats while they're doing this chicken race on the street. But there was an actual movie from, I think, 1958 called High School Hellcats, and that's what that movie was about. Drag racing, because most 1950s movies have some kind of drag scene in it, like the car culture. That was a big thing back then.
Gotcha.
And a lot of original 1950s, like they did it in Greece when they went down the river. It was just a big part of the culture. But I just like how he had the song High School Hellcats in there, just because I'm familiar with the original movie.
Sure. There's a lot of great song and like musical moments in this movie. A lot. Like I wasn't 1,000% sure going into this that it was a musical. I knew it had musical moments, but I didn't realize like a third of the movie is probably just singing. But I wasn't mad at it either. It all just kind of fell into place. It didn't feel jarring at all, and I still have a couple of the songs stuck in my head. I really like the "Hey Mr. Jailman" song.
Hey Mr. Jailer, yeah, that's the most iconic scene in the movie. The "Hey Mr. Jailer." I saw your thing on Instagram. How shocked were you when you saw Willem Dafoe?
It was great. I was at the I always read the credits whenever they're like going through the beginning, and it said special appearance by William Dafoe. I'm like, no shit, okay, let's see what he's gonna be in this. And he's maybe in 90 seconds of this movie, and I loved every second of screen time he had. I wanted so much more of that little character,
yeah. And that was just one shot. Like, if you watch it, there's no edit. That's like just one take, one and done. I'm sure it was more than one take, but the way the shot was, it was just one take shot. Everything.
So good.
Yeah, I wish we would have got more to him, but the music part, one thing I love about it was the music. I guess what makes it a little different than like a Grease is a musical, but they kind of bust into song, like how they're feeling, where this one is more like Crybaby's a singer, Allison's a singer, so they're like singers, so it's more like they're performing. There's only a few moments where it just breaks out full musical, like the "Hey Mr. Jailer" is obviously more of a breakout, but the teardrops are falling when he's in jail and he's just playing his guitar.
What do you think about that aspect of the movie? Just like, one of the things that I wasn't the biggest fan of were all of like the tears just going down. Like, they overplayed that to me. I'm like, okay, I get it. And like the saving of tears, what Allison is doing and drinking them later, is just like, I get it, but I feel like they did it 5-6
a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't mind it just because I've seen it so much, but I mean, I get for somebody who hasn't seen it, it's a little much, and it is. But the whole thing with Allison's tears, like the way I read it, and most people probably won't read it this way, but the 1950s was also a time of like, what's what I'm looking for, like sexual repression. So like, especially as a teenager, like if you really look at how she's drinking those tears, it's like a orgasmic experience for her, which is super campy. But yeah, that's the only part that's like a little bit too much. But I like the beginning with the tears, because if you think about it, like the whole beginning, he's like tearing, and she sees the tears and she just gets like, oh my god, like that's Elvis. Because you remember when the Elvis movie, when he's shaking his legs and all the girls are just going absolutely bananas. I feel like that's like the teardrop.
Gotcha. Like the first time it does it, it kind of introduces the character and it makes a lot of sense. But like, especially when the end, when everybody has the teardrop,
that was a little much with the everybody.
But yeah, like we said before, the ending just in general was a little bit too much.
It's a little goofy. I do love the shot of both of them at the end with tears, but the whole cutting to everybody else with tears is maybe a little. It's a little too much because you can just tell they're like really thick tears.
And I didn't realize that the teardrop tattoo was a thing back in 1990. I guess
I didn't realize either.
Yeah, Gangwise or something. Yeah, because
I didn't.
when he got that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
It probably meant something way different back then than what it does like now. But
I would assume so. But yeah. What are your 2 cents on Johnny Depp in this role? This was his first leading man role, and later this year, Edward Scissorhands would come out, completely like catapult him into a different starring stratosphere. How do you think he did in this movie?
Did Edward Scissorhands come out the same year?
It did.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay. Yeah. I think this is my second favorite Johnny Depp role, to be honest. And I'm saying that because I grew up with this, and this guy was like the coolest character as a kid growing up. Like it was just he like his swagger with it, especially with his hair, with that like lock that always came down. He's cool, you know. And I know Johnny Depp, I think I saw in one of the behind the scenes thing, he was nervous about, I think, dancing. I think because he wasn't a dancer, and he was really nervous, and John Waters had to like convince him and everything.
He played up his like teen heartthrob role that he had when he starred in 21 Jump Street. That's what really got him on Tiger Beat, the 80s magazines, all of that stuff. And he kind of wanted to get rid of that stigma. So him just kind of saying like, yeah, I'll go super wonky with this stigma and hopefully it goes away. I think it kind of played to his strengths a little bit, because he did just go weird and bizarre with a lot of the roles that he did after this. And this is kind of the start of that.
I feel like this is one of the few heartthrob ones you can look at him as like a normal person and not like a weird character. But
then he does like random things by like licking the prison glass and just like doing there are some like freak tendencies in
there's a lot of sexual that whole, it's like when she's teaching, when they're teaching how to like French kiss, and she like licks his tear off. It's like it's very sexual and a little over. It's super over the top. But if you look at Johnny Depp, like where he started with Nightmare on Elm Street in '84, and like this role, which was, I think this came out in '91, so it was probably filmed in '90. So like just a few years later, and you see like he went from that dorky kind of character to, I never watched the original 21 Jump Street, so I don't know how he was in that. But
I never watched it either. I just have seen like when I watched all the I Love the 80s stuff that VH1 used to put out, they used to throw 21 Jump Street clips. They used to throw on like Tiger Beat covers all the time to show the moment. And I remember seeing Johnny Depp's face over a lot of those. Like he was a big deal to a lot of those teenagers out there trying to.
Oh yeah, no, my sister. Oh, my sister was big into the collages. You know, she cut up magazines, and so Johnny Depp was all over her room, and she's the one who got me into Johnny Depp. Sure. And everything. But Crybaby is the one that always stuck with me. But it wasn't really just because of him. It was mostly because I had a huge crush on Allison growing up as a kid.
Sure. What did you think going back to like the physical release of this? What did you think of the 4K transfer of this movie?
I think it's absolutely amazing. I literally think it's the best Kino 4K I have. I think it's one of the best 4K that I have. And I say that after I put in my video I did a side-by-side comparison, and you really see like the difference in the restoration job in it, because the original Blu-ray is very cool in colors, and it may look different on other people's TV, but on mine it's very cool. It's very night and day with the skin tones. I think the skin tones really hold up in this, and I think the HDR really helps too, because I watched the Blu-ray right after, and it's basically the same. It's kind of the same transfer almost, but it's I think they have a little note like it's still 4K 35 millimeter transfer, but they had to upscale some of the extra scenes for the director's cut. But it's a little bit noisier in the DVD the Blu-ray than it is the 4K. And I don't know if that's an HDR thing, but there's a few scenes where I noticed it was a little bit more grainier.
Sure. There were a couple scenes in the 4K that they really couldn't get the transfer they were looking for, or that really matched the rest of the movie. Like the makeout scene is like one of the main ones that I can remember that's just like, this does not look good. But for the most part, the 4K looks spectacular in this sucker. I loved it. And even watching the Blu-ray, I did not think the Blu-ray transfer looked half bad either. I thought it looked pretty dang good for a Blu-ray disc.
Yeah, no, I think the Blu-ray, it's almost like it doesn't matter which one you get because they're both absolutely amazing. Like and I think that's credited to the whole the film stock of that time period. You know, like the colors don't just look like colors of movies made today. It's got this different feel to it. And it's not just because the movie's set in 1950s. Like that could have been a modern day movie. But the way that it was shot with that film stock, Kino did a great job in preserving all that because the colors just absolutely pop. Like the girls with the red lips and everything. And
I'm watching right now the dance number, the Hey Mr. Jailer, with her dancing on the car in the red dress, the red dress, lipstick. Pop City, man, it looks so good.
And then when she gets into the jail, you can see the colors on the walls look green, where in the DVD they looked more blue. It's almost like a different contrasting colors, and you can really see the warmth in the lighting. And I love the Mr. Jailer scene. It's so great.
It's great. Yeah. One thing we should probably talk about here, there are two different cuts of this movie in this set. The 4K only has the theatrical, and the Blu-ray only has the director's cut. Yeah. Have you seen both cuts? Which one do you prefer?
I prefer the director's cut. I mean, not the director's. I'm sorry. I prefer the theatrical just because I feel like the director's cut, it has a lot. It's basically just a few extra scenes. There's only one thing in the director's cut I really love more than the theatrical cut, and that's the beeping of the F word in the courthouse scene when they're all getting sentenced. When Tracy Lords' character is like, "Mom, chill the beep out," and the mom's like, "What does beep mean?" And they beeped it out because, you know, at that time you couldn't have more than one F-bomb.
Right.
And I think John Waters said instead of cutting it, he just put the beep in there, and he was like the first theatrical movie to do that because at the very end the big joke is the mom says the F word, and that's the joke. But I don't like the beeps personally. In the director's cut they just say the F word 3 times, you know. The director's cut just has a few extra extended musical scenes that feel like a little long at some point. Like the director's cut has this whole, so when Crybaby picks Allison up to go to the jamboree for the first time right before she gets her big makeover change, there's this really long, it feels like 2 or 3 minutes of just people dancing at the
conga line.
And it was just, it felt a little long. Like, okay, you can cut this down now and like hurry up.
I kind of loved how ridiculous that got, because I don't feel like that would ever happen, but I got a chuckle out of just like, what is going on here?
It's like you see Iggy Pop just go like crazy dancing. You know, how much alcohol did you give this guy?
Right. I watched both cuts as well. I think I like the theatrical better than the extended. The extended adds just things that don't really need to be in the movie.
Yeah, they don't need to really be there. And there's a few. I feel like there was 1 or 2 scenes missing that I remember, but I could be wrong. But I feel like the theatrical cut is the best. One, it's the best viewing experience because it is that proper 4K with the HDR. But story-wise, you're not missing anything at all. It doesn't change the story in any way. One of the extra scenes in the director's cut is where Ricky Lake goes to get her kids from the orphanage. That wasn't in the theatrical cut, or they cut it down really.
Really I do like that scene.
That scene's good, but I feel like it kind of right before that scene. I'm sorry. So when they're dressed up as squares trying to sneak in. You remember when the lead antagonist, square guy, is doing his little dance down the street and everything to go get Allison with the marching band? He sees them and he starts throwing like food at them because he recognizes them, and it's just this random like thing that I
Right.
feel like didn't need to be in there.
A lot of those pieces, like I feel like the theatrical was, it does not waste a lot of time like the theatrical one or the extended version does, the director's cut. There's just random beeps and boops that, hey, trim 10 seconds here and 15 seconds here, just makes for a better watching experience for sure. But you need to pop the Blu-ray in because the Blu-ray has all the special features. The 4K does not. And if you're getting this set, you need to watch the special features on here. That's one of the reasons why I love collecting physical media. And there are so many good pieces in this sucker. Normally, I don't like watching the interviews. I think they are pretty, more or less, they don't add that much to the experience. I'd rather have all of those interviews kind of meshed into a documentary. I love watching documentaries. Interviews get pretty, pretty, what's the word I'm trying to say?
Generic. They just get
formulaic. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
This one though, just the amount of people that they got from the movie to record interviews, and some people where they recorded those interviews.
Yeah,
just fascinating to me.
The Amy Locane interview.
The first special feature that I can ever think of that got recorded in a prison.
Yep. Do you know the story? Did you look it up to see why she was in jail?
I was watching this movie with my wife, and then we watched special features. She saw that she was in prison and did all the research for me. She just went into a rabbit hole. And very sad story what happened with her.
Yeah, no, because she got released, and then they were like, nope, you didn't do enough time, and then brought back. And it's like...
She killed a person when she was driving intoxicated. And she originally got 5 years in prison and then let go.
But she served 3.
Served 3 of the 5. And then it's like one of the rare cases where a judge re-looked at her case and was like, you didn't spend enough time in prison. Go back for another 8 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
It's crazy. And what's funny is, not funny, but what's crazy is she was like the good girl on set. Like she was, because they were telling all their stories, because Tracy Lords was going through her thing, and they were like, oh, don't worry, we've all been to jail. And everybody was telling their jail stories. And you have this little innocent girl who's never, the only one not been in jail, and then she ends up the worst.
She literally says in the interview, like, you can see by my orange that I'm more of a drape these days. Just like, oh God. Yeah.
She was fun little fact. She was actually in 3 1950s movies, like within like a very small amount of time.
I don't know anything about her filmography. This is the first movie I've seen of hers.
I'm not too familiar with them, but I think she's been in 3 1950s like movies set in that time period.
Sure.
Too, but yeah, I would say the special features. John Waters to me is the most interesting. The Amy Locane one, Ricky Lake. I thought it was interesting that they did the hairstylist for Johnny Depp.
That's like the one I did not watch. There's a couple. How many are there? There's 8.
There's so many.
There's so many interviews for this sucker, and so I didn't get to all of them. I didn't get to the boyfriend, the square boyfriend, and I didn't get to the hairdresser. Every other one I watched and I really enjoyed. I thought Tracy Lords was very informative.
Yeah.
Ricky Lake more or less is just saying, I love John Waters. I had a good time in this movie. If he wants me in another movie, I will be in another one of his movies.
And she was the one who looked like the best. Like she looked like life is treating her well, and she looks healthy, and she looked great in that. Did you get a chance to watch the old documentary? It Came from Baltimore.
I watched half of that. I haven't gotten all the way through, but it is loggable on Letterboxd, so I will be finishing it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the one that I feel like that's the best one to watch, and that one does have Johnny Depp in it too.
Yep. I saw him.
So you get. I think that one was from the 2005 release.
Yeah, it was.
So that's a good one, because that one actually you see some behind the scenes, actual them on set making the movie. It's not a lot, but I really like seeing that kind of behind the scenes stuff.
Well, there are so many interviews on here, and they have that old documentary, but they also have a featurette, which they don't really call a documentary, but they do have 4 different people from the movie in the same room talking with one.
Oh yeah, okay. I did watch.
Yeah,
this was the first one I watched. When we talked earlier, I didn't know what it was, but yeah, I did. That was the first one I watched. Yeah,
and that was a pretty good time as well. Pretty informative. I really enjoyed all the special features I watched in here, and there's a good chunk that I haven't even dug into yet. So I can't wait to do that either.
Yeah, no, this has a good amount, especially for your money. Like this is absolutely a great release. I just wish Kino did a little bit more with the interviews. Like I'd rather see them all in one instead of separate little things. But that's just a personal.
Yeah,
thing.
like I said, we talked about this before we started recording. But with interviews, you can kind of tell that they're getting told question, and everybody has like their response to that question, even though you don't hear the question being asked.
And maybe that's a budget thing. I mean, I don't know how much these things take, like cost wise, like how much, like, you know, they got to fly the film crew out there, and then they're like, oh, just get whatever, and then come right back, and then we'll just put it on. You know, I don't know how that works. I will say the one thing I really love about this, I don't have it out of my hand, but the artwork, the white, because the old Blu-ray had blue artwork.
Yeah, right.
And everything. But they kept the original because I have the VHS.
Ooh, VHS, look at you go, huh?
Yeah.
Pulling out props.
This is one I got. I haven't opened it. It still got the stamps on it. Like I won't open this one. I love this one. But I love that they brought it back to like that original artwork,
right,
to it. Because it's not that much different, but it's different enough to be
it
like
pops more, and that's what you want.
Pops more.
Yeah,
it pops more. And I love the original like font for Crybaby, where the old one had like more of a hot rod car metal kind of font,
which is also nice that like this Crybaby font is on the spine too, popping out. That's Crybaby. Just there's so many good touches in this release that if you are a fan of this movie in any shape or size, you should get this release. Far one of the best Kino Lorbers I've popped in and watched personally.
Oh, absolutely. Like this is one where I'm like, because I don't own many 4Ks yet from Kino. I think I have this one. I have The Apartment, which that one's totally different. That one's black and white. But I would love to see more of their like late 80s, 90s movies, like Secret Admirer. I would love to see come to 4K one day, or like, because I have a bunch of their 80s Blu-rays, you know. So I think they're doing absolutely amazing with 4Ks in the few that I've seen. I do have The Invasion of the Body Snatchers coming, which is their new 4K coming out. Yeah. The original 1956 one. That's black and white, so that'll look amazing. And then The General's Daughter, another one I'm really looking forward to, which is from 99, I think. So it'll be colorful and pop. But I think with this one, they just knocked it out of the park with this restoration. It didn't have any real noticeable grain or denoise or any of that, you know, technical terms that people like to use. It just looked properly just clean. And I loved it. I think the colors popped. I think they just knocked it out the park.
I agree as well. Those are kind of my closing thoughts with it. Do you have anything that you'd like to end with on Crybaby?
If you haven't seen it, check it out. It may not be for everybody, but it is a super fun movie. If you like, it's not a serious movie. It is very fun. Like you said, it's very campy. It crosses that line between satire and like I don't know the other word, like realism, but it's a
drama, and
drama. Yeah. It's very edgy but very fun at the same time.
Correct. Yeah, no, I agree. There aren't a lot of movies that kind of do a nice jag through the middle between satire and drama, but this is one of them, and I think it is a very unique film, and I'm glad I have it in the collection now, that's for sure.
I mean, and there's parts where it's like, even if it's campy, you're gonna laugh like that's ridiculous, but it's not in like a bad way. You're just like, I can't believe, like the girl drinks her own tea, like she literally cries into a jar and then drinks her tears, which is a little crazy, but that's
probably the craziest thing that happens in this movie.
Yeah, I think all the craziest things has to do with the tears. It's her drinking the tears. It's her licking the tear, which was pretty crazy.
Right.
You know, Tracy Lords has a scene. There's a big fight scene between the drapes and the squares, and Tracy Lords literally knocks a guy out with her boobs and then readjusts and does her makeup. Like,
you get a breast zoom in for a good like 10, 15 seconds. Yeah,
10
it's just like
seconds,
the breath going, hitting the guy, coming back, and then it's a zoom out.
Yeah. And even like we were talking about characters, we didn't even mention the big fat like Porky's pornographer guy in the pink,
sure, yeah,
in the pink Cadillac or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And Tracy Lord's parents, like they're very by the book and like so supportive of her, and Tracy Lord's absolutely hates them for it. There's just a lot of the supporting cast, not even just the people in the Crybaby gang. Everybody in here is very, very solid at what they do.
And just if you remember the prison break scene, every time I see that scene, you remember when they steal the helicopter?
Yeah.
I think
why is there a helicopter in the first place? Like that was one of my notes. Yeah.
It's like every time I see that style of helicopter, I think of like the 1960s Batman.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, with that style. And if you think about it, these are high school kids.
Right.
Like you see them in school at the beginning of the movie, and they're breaking into jail to break out Crybaby Walker. You know, it's absolutely crazy. And then they don't do it, and they like escape through a trash bin. Like it's absolutely wild.
Yeah, Johnny Depp loses his pants like digging through a drain pipe. Movie,
and then and then you see like a little rat laughing at him.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then I was thinking, I was like, you can't call that too crazy. And then do you remember? Have you ever seen Bad Boys 2?
Of course, yes.
With the rats and the rats are humping that little scene. I'm like, it's basically the same thing as far as camp. But yeah, Johnny Depp gets laughed at by a rat.
Right. Yeah. I believe that's good stuff. Yeah.
In his whitey tighties. And his biggest hurdle is or his biggest fear in the movie is getting his hair cut.
And he does not get his hair cut. It gets very close, but he gets out the last second.
Yeah, he does.
This is a newer subscriber. Crybaby's one of Bailey's favorite movies, and she got the 4K release. I'm excited for you to rewatch it. And then
I think you'll love it, Bailey. If you like the movie, you will love it. Is one of the best viewing experiences. Correct. For sure.
And then John Doe Juggalo's with us. Interview versus documentary. Documentary all the way, man.
Yeah, doesn't Vinegar Syndrome do good I think I heard Vinegar Syndrome does good documentaries, but I'm not sure if that's correct or not.
I feel like Vinegar Syndrome does a lot of interviews. They don't do as many documentaries. I feel like when they're putting together special features, the budget isn't there like it used to be on a lot of these releases. So it's a lot easier just to do interviews as opposed to like actually editing together a documentary.
I feel like at least with me specifically, being a filmmaker myself and like just going to film school and everything. And one of the reasons I keep a lot of these old school like DVDs is because of the special features. I think studio special features, especially movies between like 2000 and 2010, like the special features are insane. Like if you watch any Michael Bay movie, there's like a 3-hour documentary on how they made that movie, which is
it's
amazing.
The best. Yeah. Making of documentaries are the best. Like The Social Network is one of my favorite movies of the 2010s.
That's a great
Making of documentary on there. It's like 2.5 hours long. If you like the movie or if you just want to know more about the art of filmmaking, watch that documentary. It's so solid.
Yeah. And like I feel like the bar is set so high from studio, really, which studios don't really do that as much anymore. Like there's some like I think the last studio 4K I got was Aquaman Lost Kingdom, and it's got a good like sets. No, I'll use a great example here. The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian on 4K came out, but they don't have that 1-hour documentary that's on Disney Plus, the gallery one. That's I think they started putting it on like other releases later, but I don't have
the Marvel ones. Like Marvel have like the Marvel Assembled, which is the making
Assembled, but Marvel Assembled's not on Ant-Man 3.
They have them on the TV shows. I know that because the TV. I don't know why they don't have them on the movies. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because Ant-Man 3 has a 1-hour assembly on Disney Plus, but they don't have it on the 4K. Neither does Black Panther 2.
That's true.
But and the Mandalorian doesn't. But I'm like, I feel like studios are I don't know. They're just missing.
You have a special feature in your Disney Plus catalog, and you're not putting it out physically. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's something
especially if you're going to put the movie out, like just add it to it.
I feel like all those assembleds are hidden pretty well on Disney Plus. Like if you don't get them when they get newly released, they get just shoved down into a corner.
Yeah, and those are the best part. I don't have Disney Plus anymore. I cut that, but those were like the best things that I looked forward to. And I feel like studios, to me make the best special features, and I feel like sometimes it's hard for boutiques to live up to that expectation, especially because they're on a budget already trying to spend their money to, 4Ks are some of the most expensive things to restaurate, and to put bonus features on there is sometimes asking a lot, and sometimes all they get is the interviews.
True Lies. I don't know if you got the 4K of True Lies.
Yeah,
that had a great making of documentary.
that had a
That's
great
brand
one.
new. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a studio one. Yeah, that had that had one. I think I don't think any special features beats the what is it, the 20-hour Lord of the Rings Hobbit special features.
Yeah, that's
that come with that. That's like literally you get to see every day on set what it was like.
Yep.
But I think going from that to then getting a boutique one, it's like, oh, it's just interviews. It's like the things I don't watch in the studio movies is like the big ones here.
Correct. Yeah, nope, absolutely. Media Play also likes interviews turned into documentaries. But to end off here, John Doe Juggalo says you need to do more lives because you're great on these. And I 1,000% agree. You've been awesome as a guest on here, Brian.
Oh, thank you. This is my first one. I was like hella nervous before this.
Well, hopefully you do some on your channel because I'd love to kind of listen to you just wax poetic on anything physical media related or movie related in general.
Oh man, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd want to plug before we get out of here?
None that I can think of. My channel is Last Movie Standing on YouTube. My Instagram, I think it's Last Movie Standing or Last Movie Standing 101. I forget what the Instagram is. But on that I post mostly just like my physical media stuff, and I'm still new to YouTube. I've only been doing it for about 6.5 months.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you and meet like other like-minded physical media collectors, because here I only have like one friend that I really talk movies with, and I've already made the switch to digital. So it's a little hard to specifically talk like packaging and like all that stuff with them. So joining this has been just absolutely amazing, and all the people in the YouTube community.
It's great. Nobody in my normal day life talks physical media, so it's kind of a bummer that way. I have to always just kind of throw my feelers out to other YouTubers or Instagrammers and talk with them. There's a meetup that I'm doing with a lot of other content physical media creators next week that we're actually going to meet up in person.
Nice.
It's going to be so good. It happens once a year. This is the second year we're doing it. It's going to be an absolute blast. But I've had an absolute blast talking with you today, Brian. I will have you on here again some other time down the road because I had a really
for sure.
Yeah. And again, if you're not following Last Movie Standing on YouTube, he is a solid watch for sure. Highly recommend to subscribe to his channel.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. This has been awesome talking about this movie, because I feel like originally when I made that Crybaby video was my second video. And because I when it first got announced on 4K like months ago, I was just new. So I was only on the channel for like a month. I just made this like, hey, it's coming to 4K. And it was like one of my lowest videos, but I was still a young channel. So I figured I'm going to make this Crybaby video. It's probably not going to get like any views, but I love this movie so much. I'm just going to make it for me.
Right.
And I really, and at the time, not many people had got it in, because I think the 4K got kind of like, not like pushed back a little bit, but Amazon had a different release date than the original Kino. Like if you ordered it in time, Kino got it to you ASAP, but Amazon came out like a week or two later.
It happens sometimes, unfortunately.
So I felt like I was like really fortunate to like get it in time and able to talk about it.
Sure. Well, I got this from Kino a little bit earlier than everybody else, especially the Amazon people, and I'm glad I was able to spend as much time as I possibly could digging into this, and I still didn't even get into everything. So
yeah, I'm glad you gave the director's cut a chance, because I feel like a lot of people, especially who've never seen it, will just watch the theatrical and not see what the director's cut is, because sometimes, and I know this is a big issue with some people, it's where like the 4K gets a theatrical, but it's maybe more in horror, and the Blu-ray is like the uncut or the extended cut, and you're like, that's the version that's the version I want, and it's not on 4K, where I feel like in this case the theatrical version of Crybaby is the better version.
I agree. Yeah. Usually I like to have it the other way around, especially with horror. Like the more unrated usually means like more gore. At least that's where my brain goes.
Yeah.
For this,
or in comedies, it's a little bit more of like the funny jokes or like it's more adult how you want it.
Yep. No, 1000% agree.
Yeah.
At the end of each episode, I like to plug who I'm going to have on the next episode.
Cool.
I don't have a graphic made up this time because I'm taking a week off in between. But the next guest I'm going to have on is Justin Beam. He has created a lot of special features for a lot of different boutique labels. And I love digging into special features. He's made a lot of great documentaries as well to go in those nice premium sets. So I cannot wait to talk his brain off. And just he runs a company that this is all that they do. I think it's Reverend Entertainment. I have to do more research before the podcast actually records. But from what I've seen and from what I've logged on Letterboxd of his documentaries that he's made that have been on physical media releases, I've liked his work. So I cannot wait to talk his brain off for like an hour and a half.
And he does specifically just
special features
for physical media. That's awesome.
Correct.
That's amazing. I feel like that would be a great interview because, like I said, we were talking about special features. Like I feel like special features are also a lost art in them in and of itself.
Yep.
You know, the interviews are cool, but you know, having somebody whose job is to make them, like, I don't know, that seems like a very interesting. I know I'm interested in hearing, like, especially as a filmmaker, what that process.
And one of the questions I'm going to have for him is like the interview versus documentary side of things, and just kind of see if he can give me any more information on this because I know I'm interested for sure.
Yeah, like find out. I'll probably be in the chat and others do, but like it's like if he had like how hard is it to get access to the archive behind the scene footage? Is that something that's just not allowed or like that? Like stuff like that is just really interesting to feel because I feel like especially with boutiques, the interview is like the big thing and audio commentaries.
Well, I feel like a lot of people always have their 2 cents and they're like, if I was in charge of this, I would do this, that, and this.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of the times the people that are making this stuff try to do exactly what you're wanting them to do. And there's some reason why it's not included.
Yeah. And I feel like that goes with anything with physical media. It's like, well, why didn't we get this and not that? And we don't really have the answers. I'm sure with the special features, it's like a whole battlefield with that and the negotiations and the rights that they're allowed to.
Correct.
With things. Rights are tricky with physical media.
Yes, they are. But we'll get to that in another couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. Thank you once again, Brian, for coming on. This has been episode number 34 of Boutique Talk. And until next time, I'll see you.
Cool. Thank you, Jake.
Mm-hmm.